Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're breaking down the hidden genius behind an absolute internet staple, the 3-minute Stickman comedy sketch. We're going to analyze exactly why watching a highly energetic, super colorful 2D Stickman lose their Wi-Fi connection works so perfectly on our brains, and why we literally just can't look away.
I mean, it's a blood-boiling frustration we all know, right? You're right in the middle of a crucial task, or maybe a really intense game, and suddenly, nothing. The connection just totally drops. Today, we're deconstructing how creators take that universal, deeply relatable pain and turn it into digital slapstick. We'll be diving into the specific pacing, the animation tropes, and the structural science of internet humor.
So let's quickly run through our blueprint for today. We're covering the universal Wi-Fi crisis, the 5-point comedy structure, establishing the comedic game, Stickman slapstick, and pacing. And finally, the perfect punchline button.
Starting right off with Section 1, the universal Wi-Fi crisis, and setting the scene fast.
Our sketch kicks off the absolute second our stick figure loses his connection. And here's the thing, comedy experts note that you have less than 15 seconds to set up the exposition. You've got to establish the who, what, why, and where before a modern digital audience just clicks away. In a quick 3-minute explainer of a sketch like this, the stakes have to be instant. The Wi-Fi is dead and it is an emergency.
Moving right along to Section 2, the 5-point comedy structure, or the science of sketch writing.
Now, you might be thinking a chaotic Stickman video is just random silliness, but it actually follows a really strict 5-point blueprint. This formula takes our character from just a normal guy wanting to browse the web all the way to an absolute desperate wreck. We start with the exposition, introduce the wacky premise in what's called the game, spend basically 90% of the sketch escalating that madness, hit a completely desperate point of no return, and then end on a punchy button.
Which brings us to Section 3, establishing the comedic game and elevating from reality to absurdity.
This right here is where the core engine of our sketch really kicks into high gear. The game is essentially what drives the comedy forward. It starts grounded in reality, but escalates in steps that totally make sense to the frustrated Stickman, even as they become wildly, unbelievably ridiculous to us watching.
Just think about the shift in behavior here. We start off with completely logical troubleshooting. Things we all do. Restarting the router, checking the cables, moving the router around the room, toggling the Wi-Fi settings on and off. But to heighten the comedy, we have to cross right into pure absurdity. Suddenly, the character is pleading with the router, trying to negotiate with a plastic box like it's an actual person holding his internet hostage. That hilarious progression, that's the very definition of playing the game.
On to Section 4, Stickman, slapstick, and pacing, and why it's the perfect animation medium.
So why 2D stick figures for this? Well, because their simplicity is the ultimate vehicle for exaggerated physical comedy. When you strip down character designs to just lines and circles, animators can really push the boundaries. We're talking extreme facial expressions, fast-paced slapstick violence against a router, and screaming in totally distorted, impossible postures. It's visually loud, and it perfectly matches that internal frustration we all feel.
But hey, it isn't just about looking funny. It's about the speed of the funny. Comedy experts point out that to keep a fast-scrolling, US-centric audience hooked, a new gag, a twist, or some crazy exaggerated physical reaction needs to hit every 10 to 15 seconds. If you wait too long, poof, the audience clicks away.
It is entirely calculated chaos. As Masterclass points out, pacing is literally everything. By leaving these strategic beats of silence, like maybe having our desperate Stickman just stop and stare deadpan directly at the camera in total disbelief, the creator is weaponizing sharp comedic timing. That exaggerated explosion of physical anger right after a quiet, deadpan stare is exactly what maximizes the laugh.
And finally, Section 5, the perfect punchline button and landing the climax.
Okay, so our character has tried absolutely everything, and we have reached the point of no return. Industry experts agree a sketch like this absolutely must end on a button or a blowline. It's that essential payoff, a punchy, impactful finale that leaves the audience laughing exactly as the screen cuts to black. Without it, the whole escalation just sort of fizzles out. Let's trace the emotional whiplash of this climax. Minute 1, total soul-crushing despair. Minute 2, a tiny glimmer of hope. The Wi-Fi works for exactly 2 seconds. This triggers wild, over-the-top celebration. But then, at 2:15, immediate disconnection. The despair rushes back tenfold. Finally, at minute 3, we get the ultimate punchline reveal. The camera pans and he realizes it was unplugged the whole time. He literally yells,
I spent 3 hours fixing Wi-Fi and it wasn't even plugged in. Boom, that's the button.
You know, we sit back and laugh at a 2D Stickman screaming and physically shaking a plastic box, but how far off is that from our own reality? The next time your internet suddenly drops and you find yourself yelling at a blinking light on your router, just remember, you're basically acting out a comedy script. Does our complete reliance on these invisible signals make us all part of the ultimate slapstick routine? Think about it. And hey, just remember to check your plugs before you start trying to negotiate with your router.